Firstly, I'd like to thank the organizers of today's event, Dina Katz and Morgan Geffner, who's holding my microphone right now. That's how well organized she is. Thank you for inviting me to speak today. And to all of you gathered here, thank you for giving your time, your support, and your voice to this unstoppable movement. I am proud to be representing Time's Up, an organization made up of some of the bravest, most determined, most inspiring women that I have ever had the great privilege of sharing with and learning from. In light of the recent revelations regarding abuse of power and sexual harassment and the question of consent versus coercion, I find myself pensive, taking time and digging deep to understand where we are and how we got here. My mind baffles. How could a person publicly stand by an organization that helps to provide support for victims of sexual assault while privately preying on people who have no power? I want my pin back, by the way. How is it okay for someone in a position of power to use that power to take advantage of someone in a lesser position? Just because you can, does that ever make it okay? If a person isn't saying yes, but they aren't saying no, how can anyone feel justified to make that decision for them? As I pondered on, I began to notice in myself a kind of revelation too. I started to feel something bubble up inside me, a kind of rage. The revelation that this rage wasn't just for these women that were taken advantage of and ignored and unseen, but also on behalf of myself. As the rage settled in, it gave way to other feelings, sadness and unexpectedly guilt and grieving. And suddenly I was 19 again. And I started to remember all the men I'd known who'd taken advantage of the fact that I was a young woman who didn't yet have the tools to say no or to understand the value of my own self-worth. I'd had many relationships, both personal and professional, where the power dynamic was so off that I had to create a narrative in which I was the cool girl who could hang in and hang out. And that sometimes meant compromising what felt right for me. And that seemed okay, compromising my voice and therefore allowing myself to be unseen and degraded, and whether it was intended by the other party or not, because it allowed me to have the approval that women are conditioned to need. I was coming